My whole life, I felt this sense of urgency from within, like I'm supposed to do something. I'm supposed to help somehow. And it was a very physical feeling of like something almost pushing from the inside out, like this urgency that I needed to figure it out. I needed to figure out what my purpose was. I needed to do something. I needed to help. And that intense pressure from within can really cause anxiety. Hello, beautiful starseeds and lightworkers. Welcome back to another video on Starseed Academy. Today I have a question for you. Is the year 2020 getting to you yet? Because I think that it's getting to a lot of us. And from the people that have been reaching out to me lately, there's definitely been a lot of cases of anxiety. So whether this be anxiety that's re-emerging and the person has suffered in the past and now it's come back to haunt them when they thought they had healed it, or people that have never even dealt with anxiety before and here it is, they're dealing with it because this year is so epic. The first thing that you want to ask yourself is the anxiety coming from within or coming from without? Because we are made up of vibrating energy, even though we appear to be physical, we're actually vibrating atoms and cells. On a microscopic level, we actually aren't physical at all. We are this vibrating energy. And so we are going to be affected by the other energies around us, especially when we're completely submerged in the energy of the world. I think it's really important to inform yourself of what's going on around you so that you can determine where this anxiety is coming from. And a lot of people are experiencing this anxiety as that feeling within of pressure, like almost a burning sensation in your chest and in your stomach that you're not doing enough or that you need to be doing more or that something's going wrong. And it's a sense of worry and it's a sense of foreboding. And I myself have suffered from anxiety in the past and did a lot of clearing work and healing and regression work to heal the anxiety completely. And even I, in the year 2020, have definitely been facing bouts of anxiety again. And so, like I said, let's inform ourselves of why that might be happening. So the first thing that we want to talk about is anxiety that's coming from without. So not originating within yourself, but actually originating outside of yourself and seeping in. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the Schumann resonance. So if you've never heard of the Schumann resonance before, I really think that you should research this and look into it. It's actually Earth's heartbeat. And so Earth herself, Gaia as I like to call her, has her own vibration. And her natural state or her natural state of vibration is around, I think it's 7.8 hertz. If I got that wrong, I'll put it on the screen so that you can see what it actually is. But do your own research, inform yourself about this, because it affects us so much, especially as starseeds and lightworkers. We are so tuned in as empaths, almost all of us are empaths, and we're also so tuned into Gaia herself, to Earth, because we specifically came here to be with her through this transition. So if her energy is going haywire, and you'll see the charts of it going from her natural state around 7 or 8 and going all the way up to like 50, 70, 90, you're going to be feeling that. So if you take the time to research or follow someone who posts the Schumann resonance, then you can determine why some days are worse than others for anxiety. And that takes the fear out of it. Because if Gaia is just having a day and you're feeling it, then that's all that it is. And that's all that it needs to be. We don't need to constantly delve deeply into every single thing that we feel. We can get lost in there. Although shadow work is really important, a lot of the anxiety you might be feeling in the year 2020 is just simply that, everything that's going on around you. And so inform yourself, research the Schumann resonance first off, and understand that you can choose to ground yourself and find your peace within, even with these wild fluctuations of energy. And by the way, her raising her vibration up to these crazy amounts of like 50, 70, 90, whatever it may be, is a beautiful thing. She's raising her vibration. And isn't that what we're all trying to do? So let's help Gaia by continuing to work on ourselves, raising our vibration, and then these high vibe days won't affect you so much. In fact, I found the opposite now. Now when she has a really low day, I find myself feeling off and tired and a little bit anxious or grumpy. And when she has those high days, now that I've done the work, I feel great. I feel full of energy. I feel full of purpose and full of ambition to really tackle the day. Another factor coming from outside of yourself that could be affecting you and causing you anxiety is the collective consciousness. The collective consciousness is the consciousness on a whole. So if you took everybody's vibration, everybody's state of consciousness, and on the whole world, like the entire population, and then you averaged it out, what would the average be? And that's the collective consciousness. And so that's why you hear people talking about a tipping point a lot of the time. A tipping point is when just over half of the collective consciousness feels something, then everyone's going to feel it. It's going to spill over in a big way. And so that's why we want as many people as possible to be raising their vibration and finding peace within so that we can have a tipping point towards the light. But if the collective consciousness is having a bad day, a lot of times this happens when there's global events. For instance, the fires happening right now all throughout the US, if there's a war going on, if there's some great political unrest or civil unrest in specific countries, especially countries with big populations. Think China, think India, think the US for sure. Those kinds of events are going to affect us all because the collective consciousness surrounds us all. You are completely absorbed by it, and there's nothing you can do about that. But you can stay informed and you can help heal the collective consciousness by sending out light. I would recommend sending light to parts of the world that are going through hard times. And you can do that during meditation. Some people actually even pull out a map or the globe and they specifically send the energy of light and love and peace to those areas. Or you can just visualize them in your mind. Visualize the countries that are struggling. I know Australia needs a lot of our love right now. Send them love and peace every night when you're doing your meditations, which hopefully you're doing daily. I try to do a short meditation in the morning and then a little bit longer meditation before I go to bed to set myself up to be in a good, peaceful place before I go to sleep. These are prime times to be sending out the love and light. And it may seem, kind of, what's the term that people use, like hippy dippy, or like it's not a grounded thing to do. It absolutely is. It absolutely makes a difference, and it's so important. You can make a difference. You are affecting the collective consciousness every day. Where are you leaning towards? What side are you feeding? And when you're doing your meditations, I can't emphasize enough how important meditation is. When you're doing your meditations, share your love and your light and your peace and channel it from source through so you're not depleting yourself. But really try this, pulling out a map, concentrating on an area of the world that you feel needs help, even if it's your own country, absolutely, and sending that love and light and peace and harmony and balance back to that area. And you're going to feel more peaceful within. It's going to affect you because it's helping everyone. Speaking of the news, so the news is really, really detrimental nowadays to our vibration. If you're following along on every single thing that's going wrong with the coronavirus or with the riots or with the fires or with politics, and you're almost obsessed with it, where you're looking every single day to see what's going on, that's going to seep in. And so you really want to choose to either limit the amount of time that you allow yourself to look into these things. Like, for instance, I give myself like because I want to stay informed. So I give myself like 10 or 15 minutes every day to kind of like check up on the people that I follow that I know I'm going to get the truth from. Mainstream media is not going to give you the truth right now. So for me in Canada, there's a news channel called Rebel News where you get a lot of the truth. And you can also find people on Instagram or Facebook that aren't afraid to give you the truth. They're researching, they're looking up the facts. You don't just want to believe everything you hear. Use your intuition and use your discernment. That discernment should be the word of the year, because 2020 is filled with so many lies and falsehoods to stir up fear and anxiety, because we're so much easier to control. When we're afraid, then we're willing to do anything to feel better, right? Follow any kinds of crazy rules. Discernment is the word for 2020. I've just decided that. So use your discernment when you are checking in on the world events. Don't just follow mainstream media. Look deeper, do the work, do the research. But even then, because the truth can still be a dark place to go, you want to limit yourself to that 10, 15 minutes a day so you know what's going on, but you're not completely absorbed by it. And it has its own vibration. Like, even if you're just on your phone and say you're scrolling through, those posts, that news feed has a vibration. Everything has a vibration. Don't fool yourself. It's all affecting you. So, TV shows and movies, any kind of entertainment, any kind of social media, anything at all that you're bringing into your awareness is affecting you. All of it has a vibe. So if it doesn't feel good, don't give it very much time. Don't do it too much or too often. Really try to stay balanced. And, definitely choose things of the light that give you a good feeling. So with the world the way that it is, and with the truth and the news being fairly dark and violent nowadays, would you then go ahead and also choose to watch a super violent movie or show and just add to that, just bombard yourself with even more of it? Do we need that? We don't need that right now. Another outside force that could be affecting your anxiety and your moods, of course, is the people around you. So who are you surrounding yourself with? Again, this counts for social media. Those are people. They have a vibe. They're projecting it. And if it's coming into your space, what kind of vibe is that? So choose highly evolved, enlightened people that are looking to look at the best of humanity and the best of the world. There is a lot of beautiful love and light out there. Stories that can be shared that are where people are helping each other and helping each other to rebuild or to see things through a new perspective. You just have to find it. You just have to choose to find the love and the light. You have to choose to see things from a perspective that everything is happening for a reason, and that all of these events are adding to our soul's depth and the growth of humanity on a whole. And it's not for no reason. This dark night of the soul that the collective consciousness, humanity, is going through, also the earth, Gaia, is going through her own dark night of the soul. It's all part of the ascension process. It's not a bad thing. All of the suffering has a purpose. It has a point. It's leading somewhere good. Believe that it is. So on the other hand, if your anxiety is coming from within you, so we've talked about the outside sources, I think you should do some research and inform yourself about the Schumann resonance, collective consciousness, if those aren't things you're already familiar with. And if it's not from an outside source, what if the anxiety is coming from within? How would you know? How can you tell? A huge way that I can tell that the anxiety is coming from within me is racing thoughts. Start to pay attention to what's going on in your mind. Are your thoughts just racing, racing, racing? They don't have to be about anything in particular. Oftentimes, though, they're worrying about the future or regretting something in the past if you're feeling anxious. But even just any kind of a racing thought that's going, it's not giving you peace and quiet in your mind, then it's causing anxiety. These racing thoughts happen from not bringing ourselves back to balance often enough, which is where meditation comes in. I know a lot of people don't want to meditate for some reason. They don't think it works, or they don't think they have the time, or they roll their eyes like, what's the point? It's a huge point. If you don't do it, you'll never know the difference that it makes. And the difference is night and day. Meditation has literally taken me out of a dark hole and brought me back up to my best self many, many times. It can happen so fast. At the beginning, it feels like this monumental task. So time it. Give yourself 10 or 15 minutes, at least once a day. You can build up from there to doing it like I do in the morning for 10 minutes and then at night for like a half an hour. That's not that much. And if it completely changes your perspective on the world around you and on yourself, and you start building this self-love and confidence, and you start seeing all of these things in your life progressing for the better, and you start taking steps and following your dreams, I mean, is it not worth it? It's not even that much time. It's also gonna save you from your racing thoughts. Another way that I help myself to calm my mind is to journal. I mean, if there are things in there that are just bouncing around with all these worries, then you might as well get it out of yourself. That's what writing is so good for, just to get it out. Put it down on paper. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be legible. It doesn't even have to make sense. Nobody's gonna read it. You don't even have to read it again. Just write for the sake of venting. Get it out of yourself. You have no idea, if you haven't tried it, how cathartic that is. And sometimes if you do decide to read back on your journal entries, on those moments when you're just venting and feeling so frustrated, you can actually learn a lot. You can actually gain a lot of wisdom about yourself and how best to help yourself. Again, anxiety is mostly caused by racing thoughts within you. And if your thoughts are racing, you are not being present. You are not in this present moment. You are somewhere else in your mind. If you bring yourself back to presence, you're going to notice a huge difference. You're gonna feel so peaceful and grounded. And I think that I'd like to recommend a book. It's over there in the bookshelf, but I won't get up. There are two books that really helped me to learn how to become present. And those books were A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle and just get up, get the books. There are two books that really helped me to develop a sense of presence where my mind, body, and spirit were all in the same place at the same time, which was the present moment. It's the most powerful thing that you can do for yourself to empower yourself and to bring yourself peace. So my number one book recommendation for finding presence is Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth. So this book here, I would say was a game changer, life-changing even. He has written a lot of amazing books, but this one is my favorite. I actually have read it so many times that I've like underlined so much. I've got footnotes everywhere. I've highlighted it. Like I studied this. See, I just opened it to a random page and what do we see circled in red? Be still, look, listen, be present. Like he's the man on presence. So go and get this book or order this ebook and read a little bit every night. Like if you're gonna try and, add your daily meditations into your routine, reading for 10 minutes before or after is also great. You just read a couple of pages and you'll be surprised how fast you get through the book. And then the next one is called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. I know a lot of people recommend this book. There's a reason. It's that good. He teaches you how to recognize the different voices in your mind and to be more observant, like to become the observer of your mind in a way that nobody else has talked about, and how to quiet your mind. Because people can say, well, just stop thinking, just quiet your mind. Well, how? And he actually goes into what it feels like, how to do it. I don't even think that I could do this book any justice by trying to explain it to you. You really have to check it out for yourself. But it's about how to turn your active mind into something that's helping you, into your friend, into a force for good instead of a force of anxiety. And lastly, I would say that something you could do to help with racing thoughts is to talk to somebody about it, communication. And whether that be with friend, family, or whether that be with your spirit team or angels, you can do either. You can even just talk to your higher self or to your journal, whatever works for you. But if I'm feeling overly anxious, I find it is helpful to let the people around me know where I'm at. And oftentimes just saying it just getting it out, like I said, just venting it out just tends to help like 50% of it already feel better. And then you can work on the rest of it yourself through all of these ways that we've been talking about today. So I really hope that some of these points have helped you. I certainly know what it feels like to struggle with anxiety. And I know that 2020 has been like an absolute melting pot of anxiety and depression. And so I know that we're all suffering, but I also know and truly believe in my heart that this is all happening for a reason, and that this year is leading us somewhere so good. Even if it gets a little bit worse before it gets better, I'm remembering, and I hope that you'll remember too, that that's what a dark night of the soul is. And again, please inform yourself if you don't know what a dark night of the soul is. These are things to look up. It's time to start taking responsibility for yourself and for your life and for your energy and for your reactions. Nobody can make you react. Okay, that comes from within. So when people are triggering you and you're flying off the handle with the reaction, that's nobody's fault but your own. You truly have to get to a place of growth and peace within where you are good no matter what. And even if something irks you or triggers you, which of course it does all of us, that you are at a place of maturity and growth, that you know that you've been triggered and you take the time to walk away, to calm yourself, to figure out what it is, instead of just like spewing reactive energy all over the place. We do not need more of that in 2020. There is so much reactive energy floating around. That is just straight up anxiety too. So let's start taking responsibility for ourselves, start informing ourselves, start researching, start really carving out routines in our day to be our best self. This is the year. This is the time. If not now, when? Then when are you going to do it really? Think about that. So, and I say all of this with like the most love and compassion, and someone that's going through it right beside you and has been through multiple dark nights of the soul. Yep, you can go through more than one and it's great. But in all seriousness, you're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Humanity is going to be okay. We're going to get through this. The earth is doing her thing and we are just along for the ride sometimes, and that's okay. I love you all so much. Please start taking responsibility for your feelings and start helping yourself. And of course, I always want you to remember to listen to your heart and the quiet voice within, because you are so much more than the body you are in. Have a great day. Bye.